Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Ryan Zefko. I'm the Senior StudentLink Counselor at the StudentLink Center here at New York University. November 4th through November 11th, the StudentLink Center is celebrating National First Generation Student Day. So be sure to tune in at NYU StudentLink on our social media channels. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more information on upcoming events to celebrate our first generation students on campus. I am here today with April Thompson. April, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is April Thompson. I am the Associate Director in Enrollment Management, and our office is called the Graduate Marketing and Admission Consulting Office. And in short, what we do is sort of act as a pre-admissions admissions office. So we're here to help prospective students as they try to figure out which graduate and professional program is right for them.
Thank you, April. It's a pleasure to have you here, so thank you for joining us today. The conversation today is going to revolve around graduate admissions and what students can expect if they're considering applying to grad school. So just to get started, why grad school? What can graduate school do for students?
That's a great question, right? I think that's something that everyone asks themselves after they've done undergrad, like, why do I need even more school? Well, the thing that I really love about graduate admissions, or a graduate degree rather, is the flexibility that it can offer you. So whether or not you are, you found the field that you want to be in and you just want to hone in and perfect your skills, or if you want to completely switch it up and try something new, a graduate degree can allow you to do that. I think the job market that we're in is pretty competitive right now. And so more and more we're seeing fields that at a bare minimum, they're expecting a master's degree or higher. And so those jobs that require a graduate degree, they are increasing and they're taking up more of the market. And so, I think I see a lot of folks who just want to remain competitive, that are, coming back for their graduate degree, or even people who are going straight through from undergrad, and saying, I know that, a master's degree is going to be what I need to get where I need to be in my career. So, I think whether it's for the love of education or, always wanting to learn more and do better, whether it's switching careers or maintaining your current career path, or trajectory, I think a graduate degree can help with all of those things.
Yeah, and I think one thing you had mentioned, there are master's degrees, and some fields are almost requiring graduate degrees as a credential to break into that field. But there are masters of science degrees, master of arts degrees, and then you have professional degrees like med school degrees, dental school degrees, law school degrees. So could you speak to that a little bit about those different credentials and different types of graduate degrees?
Absolutely. I think I'm laughing because I experienced the same thing when it was time for me to apply to graduate school. I was a first generation student myself and hadn't really thought about a graduate degree until maybe my third year of college, where an advisor came to me and said, are you going to go to grad school? I think you should go to grad school. And that started this long process. And you're right, all of these letters and credentials, MA, MS, MBA, MPA, it can get very overwhelming. So, I would say in some cases, there is a really clear pathway, like you need this certification to do this. But a lot of times it can be very flexible. It can be what you make it. I really recommend that people think about where they want to be in the next 5 years, and do some research and see, the people who have the jobs that you want, what kind of degrees do they have? What kind of credentials do they have? And that can kind of make sure that you're kind of in the right bucket or in the right pathway. Obviously, there are offices like mine who are willing to help and help you navigate that process and break down, what some of the different degrees mean. So I would definitely reach out to any institution that you are thinking about applying to, and just making sure that it's the right fit for you.
Yeah, I think that's all really good information. Thank you, April. What are some things that students should keep in mind as they're traversing their undergraduate studies if they're considering applying to grad school? Or what are some things that maybe they should be doing while they're in undergrad?
Absolutely. So there are some things that you can be doing while you're getting your undergraduate degree to get you ready for graduate school. So the first thing I think that everyone should do is network, right? While you're already in college or at your university, take advantage of the people that you have around you. So your professors, the faculty members, engaging with them, maybe adding them on LinkedIn or making sure that you're still connected even after you graduate, because oftentimes those are the people that you want to write your letters of recommendation. Those might be people who you want to talk about your grad school application with, just for general advice. And so really making sure that you make an impact, they know who you are, you leave a lasting impression, a good impression, so that you can come back and get those letters of recommendation later. Um, One thing I think, in undergrad, taking advantage of undergraduate research opportunities, internships, assistantships that might be available as an undergrad, because especially if you're thinking about going straight through, maybe you're not going to work very much, that research experience or that time you spent on campus can be used to kind of supplement the experience you might not be getting if you are joining the workforce. So grad school applications look even better, when they're packed full of undergraduate experiences. So again, thinking about which degree you want, like if you're going into a STEM field or engineering, definitely take advantage of any sort of research experience. But whether or not that means getting involved in student clubs, extracurricular activities, all of those things would look great on a grad school application.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And just reflecting on sort of my own experience in terms of networking, professors, faculty, staff, those relationships you make on campus, some of them, a lot of them have already traversed grad school. So yeah, you're absolutely right to that point
Absolutely.
where they can provide you advice about the application process, or you can speak to them about what you're experiencing in terms of applying to grad school, searching for a grad program that fits you. And they would certainly be able to provide some sort of feedback and assistance in that area as well. So yeah, networking very important. Thank you, April.
And
What?
Ryan, I was just
Mhm.
gonna, oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna add too that, I always like to say that smart people know smart people know each other.
Yeah.
And so, even if you're not interested in going to the same institution you did in undergrad, people who work in similar fields across the country, across different institutions, they usually know each other. So if you're thinking about, a school or an institution, and you have a good relationship with someone on your campus, you can ask them, like, hey, do you know so and so? Or hey, do you know anything about this? And chances are they probably do. So um,
Right.
can't say enough about networking and just making those connections. You're going to be better off doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, April. How is, or what are some things in terms of where to apply to grad school that you think students should be considering as an undergrad student?
Yeah, the where and like the what program, I think that's super important. And I think the first piece of that is to do your research and make sure that, the institutions that you're applying to, they actually match your interests in your fields. A lot of times, or the field that you want to go into rather. Um, a lot of times people will look at rankings or they'll say, this program is ranked number one in the country. That's where I want to go. I think rankings are important. They can help guide you and maybe, show you which schools you might want to look at. But rankings are really not the end all be all. Just because something is the best or the number one in the country, it doesn't mean it's the best for you. It doesn't mean it's number one for you. So all of those programs that you're looking at, really sort of lay them out and think about things like geographic location. If you're a city girl like me, maybe you don't want to go to a program that's in the middle of rural America. Maybe that's not going to be the best fit for you. Um, because this is where you'll be calling home for the duration of your graduate program, unless you're doing an online program. But the geographic location is one thing to really think about. The fit of the city that the institution is in, the sort of feeling that you get when you interact with folks from that institution. So I always, always, always recommend that folks call admissions offices, try to speak with someone, because that you'll learn a lot about how they treat you. You know, do you feel welcomed? Do you feel like you belong? Do you feel included? And so if you're not getting the warm and fuzzies from that first interaction, it's probably not going to change. And so if you're okay with that, if you don't need that, that's totally fine. But I think how a school sort of makes you feel is just as important, you know, as their rankings or some of the other things that you'll be considering when you're looking at a graduate program.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's all really, really good advice. Thank you, April.
Mm.
In terms of, I just kind of want to end on this because I think it's an important question, because there is a difference between graduate school and undergraduate school. So what do you think are some differences that students can expect in terms of transitioning from undergrad to grad?
This is a great question. And I think, you know, myself included, I work with incoming graduate students all the time. And I think something that we've had in common is maybe we were a little overconfident when we first went from undergrad to grad school. We thought, oh, it's, you know, I've already done 4 years or 5 years of undergrad. I'm going to be so ready for graduate school. Well, you know, that's sort of the case, but you have to also keep in mind that it's a transition. It's going to be a bigger workload, a more heavy workload. It's going to be more rigorous. And so making sure that your time management skills, your prioritization skills, that you're on top of it, because graduate school, it's usually a lot more reading, a lot more research, a lot more intensive than undergrad. And so making the space for that and making sure that you're prepared for that is very, very important. I also think, you know, getting connected to resources on your campus is very important. So whether it's a writing center, a tutoring center, making sure that you know about those resources so that you can reach out and do those things proactively before you get in trouble or before you get overwhelmed
Right.
by just the sheer workload of a graduate program. So I think they are similar, but it reminds me of the transition from high school to undergrad. You sort of didn't know what to expect, and it might have taken some people a little getting used to, but they finally got the hang of it. I think that's the same from undergrad to grad, is that it's similar, but it's a little different. And like I said, that rigor, you're gonna want to make sure you're prepared for that.
Yeah, and just speaking to my own experience, I definitely agree with that. There is a little bit of a difference in the workload between undergrad and grad, and just the time commitment. And so skills like
Yeah.
time management are going to be really important, leveraging some of those skills that you were building as an undergrad
Mhm.
to be successful in graduate school. Very important. So thank you so much, April. That's all we had today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And April, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been a very informative and fantastic talk, and I'm sure our students will find it very helpful. For any questions that students might have at NYU about applying to grad school, is there an office that they can contact? Could they get in touch with your office?
Absolutely. Get in touch with us. So you can reach us at nyu.edu/grad admissions, our website there. We have tons of programming, events, information, one-on-one consultations where we'll meet with students or prospective students to get a better sense of what they're looking for. You can also find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at NYU Grad ADM. So that's at NYU Grad ADM.
Thank you so much, April, and thank you to all of you who are tuning in. NYU StudentLink will continue to celebrate our first generation students November 4th through November 11th. So be sure to stay tuned on our social media pages. That's at NYU StudentLink on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to register if you haven't already done so for our live watch party of the film First Generation on November 8th. You can head to the link in our bio to register, or you can register on our website, nyu.edu/StudentLink.